My rival, I challenge you to a card game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivals, they've been around since, well, Kaiba and Yugi, obviously. Now, I don't get the point of rivals, but we'll get to that later as point proven. There has been many rivals throughout each Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. One rival for the protagonist, or two if you're feeling a little spicy to just charge it up just a bit, you know? And we're going to go over every rival in my order. In my opinion, I think how they would rank and how I think of them from worst to best. My opinion will always be different for all of your opinions, and that's okay, obviously. Let's just get to it. Of course, there's no denying that we all think Silvio is literally the worst Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival to ever come out. I just hate him. His attitude sucks. I don't like his hair. He's not that good at dueling in general to begin with, let's be honest. Pretty much stole Yu-Gi-Oh's pendulum cards, uses himself. He's very terrible, and he brags so much about how he says he's better when he really isn't. He's kind of like Kaiba, but hey, Kaiba actually has the skill to back it up. Silvio is basically everything wrong with a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival, essentially. And then there's Revolver. You're probably wondering, why is he here? Well, I just don't watch Varens that much and don't care about the show in general, so, I mean, he's probably a good rival, you know, if I actually cared and watched the show more often, but I just couldn't get into it. So he's gonna be here, but pretty much he's only above Silvio because I'm pretty sure he's better than, like, come on, let's be honest. Any rival is pretty much better than Silvio, let's be honest. Next, we have Luke from Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Like I said, the same thing goes for Revolver. I have not watched the show, but, you know, seeing it, he does seem like a pretty good character. Doesn't seem arrogant, and seems to be a really good duelist, honestly. I don't know, I haven't found any ways to really watch Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, but if I make an updated video of this in the future, then you'd probably be a lot higher. And also on a side note, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show after 7s, I don't know the rival, but he's probably also better than Silvio, just to tell you. Okay, now here comes one of my first kind of hot takes. Chazz is just okay for rival, let's be honest. But when it comes to trying to beat the main protagonist, he's probably the only one out of all the rivals besides Silvio to never really beat the main protagonist. Every time he's gone up against Jaden, he has lost. And he's not one of those opponents where at some point, or he might respect his opponents, or, you know, not insult them every 2 minutes. Nah, he still does that. His attitude is kind of the one thing that really makes it a major turnoff for me, and then its voice in Season 3 is like, oh god, that's gonna be in there. He's fine, you know, just work on an attitude, he'd probably be one of the better ones. And coming right after Chazz is Zane, another one of Jaden's rivals. The problem with this is that they just never duel that much. I mean, they dueled 2 times in Season 1, and nothing else until, like, a kind of short duel in Season 3. It's a whole thing. When we get to talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3, I'll explain it then. So that's a whole thing. I mean, yeah, in Season 1, great time. But in Season 2, its character kind of changed in a weird way. And then, like, having Jaden and Zane go up against each other probably wouldn't have worked. So it's kind of a whole thing. Next up is Declan from Arc 5. Now, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival in Arc 5 done right. He's, well, you know, an actual better duelist than Silvio. And, of course, he's kind of like Kaiba, where he owns a very expensive company and is also one of the best duelists ever. He's basically Kaiba, but just not as good, essentially, you know? And he does have his own skills to back it up, unlike Silvio, who just does not. I mean, of course, he's creating fusion summoning, synchro summoning, sea summoning. He's creating all these, essentially. So, yeah, just pretty good rival. Just not as great as I want it to be, but still pretty good. Now, here's Shark from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. As much as I don't really like Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal that much, besides, like, Varens being not as good, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal did have some very good rivals, and Shark is one of them, because apparently a hairstyle is something they couldn't afford properly. Definitely used to be started off as a regular bully character, and didn't really respect his opponents that much when we first saw him in the show, slowly growing back to respecting his opponents, well, mainly Yuma, and that's pretty much it, but still, one of the better duelists, and way too much skill, and just has it all to back it up. Starting off the top 3 is Jack Atlas from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. I know, right? This is like probably the first time I ever talked about 5Ds on this channel. How is this happening? Anyway, like, Jack is a very good rival. Like, I mean, he starts out, like you know, he and his friends start out in the slums, you know, but inside he wanted that all for himself, leaving all his friends behind and going to the top himself, not really having much respect for them. Of course, that's how it starts out. But later, over time, as Yusei shows that it's not all about being on top with his friends and all, Jack slowly learns that it's not just about him all the way at the top for being rivals, but that they're all in this together. And just seeing Jack go into someone who's more egotistical to someone who's just cares more about everyone else. It's just a really nice moment. But yeah, at number 2, close to the top spot, is Kite from Zexal. Pretty much, this is like one of most people from Zexal's favorite character, because Kite, he's just too cool. I mean, of course, his Galaxy Eyes deck is pretty impressive, but being one of the more intimidating and definitely more hard opponents for you to defeat just made him all the better, you know? And also knowing that he was doing this for more than just, well, pride, because of his little brother Heart, and just doing all this to protect him in a great way, it just makes him a very good rival, not just for winning, but also being a caring brother. And like most people, Kaiba would definitely be in like top 5, top 3, and Kaiba for me is number 1. Just being a great duelist with so much skill and insulting Joey at every turn he can get. He had like a weird respect for his opponents, where respecting them, he insults them in a way like, I thought you were better than this, or something like that. And Kaiba has kind of insults people a lot, but unlike say somebody like Silvio actually does have the skill to back it up, you know, because a guy with 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons will do that to you. So pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, he is the perfect, like, view of what our Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivals should be. And that is my list. Remember, this is just my opinions of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivals, but I'm pretty sure this is a pretty good list, you know. This probably might change in the future, not by much in the future, but yeah, this is what it stands at for Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivals for me right now. And I can't wait to see you all guys next time for more videos. I'll see you all next time. See ya!